Open Your Eyes is brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Dr. Martin, right?
I'm Sabrina Daly.
And I'm Paul Lopez.
And good morning, Paul.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fine. All things considered, it's Tuesday.
It is.
It's a great day to be alive. The weather is nice outside. We woke up. I have a nice cup of coffee here. I'm good.
You're good. I think as long as Paul gets his first cup of coffee in the morning, we instantly get a more positive mood from him. But guys, I want us to get a look at Paul's new look. Isn't he so...
Why do we have to go...
I'm sorry, this entire week, it's only been Tuesday so far, the first 2 days, but we have been pointing out Paul's new look. And I have to say, I love it. Was there anything that sparked the change?
Yeah, at the end of the year. So it's we're going into a new season. A lot is happening, and so there's sometimes some management issues with the beard and hair.
We call it management issues.
Yeah, so management decided that we need to keep it low, and so you could just get out to the door and little management. So
well,
that's
I support the move of management. We love it over this side. Guys, let us know your thoughts on Paul's new look. I think he looks fresh, and of course, with his first cup of coffee, even fresher.
Yes.
But we have our What's Buzzing topics to jump into. This morning, we have a jam-packed show, so we're just going straight into it with What's Buzzing. Alrighty, starting things off, I know this was also a lead in our newscast last night. We had an exclusive sit down with the leader of the opposition, Moses Shine Barrow. Of course, you would also know, Paul, that we have been following the developments of the United Democratic Party since the Alliance for Democracy took over the UDP headquarters, then got it taken away from them by way of a high court order, allowing Shine Barrow back in the headquarters. So there was a series of developments since that, I'd say, allowance back to headquarters. Now, yesterday was an interesting one because we do know the headquarters manages two particular organs, and that is the newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, which Alfonso Noble is the editor for. But he's also a talk show host for their morning show, which is Wave Radio Fosting Namani. And of course, I believe it was around last week, we heard from Alfonso Noble on their morning show talking about and really ventilating their thoughts on the current affairs within the UDP, speaking about Shine Barrow as one of those persons who has been really causing to them a divide in the party. Now, yesterday was an interesting one because Alfonso Noble, as you can see on the screen, went on the morning show as he normally does, but he quickly came off after giving an announcement that he would be, what was his term?
Indefinitely on
leave?
On leave.
Yeah. So, thoughts on this, Paul?
Yeah, so what we saw, I think the two hosts that took over yesterday and maybe on set this morning are the UDP standard bearers for Pig Stock and Caribbean Shores, if I'm not mistaken. Look, that's just the way the game of politics is, and that's just the consequence of going above board last week and saying the things you said about Mr. Barrow, knowing that the way it works in politics, things can swing at any time.
Right.
And I will say, though, that Joe and Fonso, they're the most entertaining thing on radio in the morning.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. If you want good entertainment, nothing else, that's the morning show of choice on radio. And so I appreciate that. I don't think anybody could do it like them. They'll definitely be missed, but I foresee that sometime in the future they'll be back. And I know that a lot of memes are being made about them.
Yeah, there was a caller that called in yesterday speaking about the fact that the show is boring
without them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know there's a lot of memes being made about Alfonso and Joe, especially since they seem to be taking a crack at their own selves.
Yeah.
With Alfonso posting a picture right after walking off the set with him and Joe saying
day off indefinitely.
And a lot of people took that as some sort of lighthearted jab at himself.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is just the entire divide on full display in the United Democratic Party. And if Fonso and Joe could be removed, then I think the dominoes will just continue to fall.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens from there.
I think what's important for our viewers to know is that, of course, all of us, we want to see a solution to this this divide within the United Democratic Party. As of last week, Friday, we know that there was a High Court ruling allowing Moses Shine Barrow to obtain the headquarters back on grounds that the Alliance for Democracy stepping in and using Philippa Griffith Bailey as their reasoning to obtain the property was essentially illegal. So he now sits at the helm of the UDP headquarters, but of course the issue is still not completely resolved. There's still the matter of who is the rightful leader of the UDP, and we do know that that ruling is set for around January, which of course gives us the question of, will it be enough time if there's a potential early election? So
just to clarify two things you said. Last week, just so we could be on the same grounds, last week the court did not in fact determine whether or not it was legal or illegal, the takeover, only so that for the sake of the case that matter that is ahead and the arguments that will be put forth, that the building returned to status quo, in that he regains possession until it is determined what truly pans out here. And then secondly, January 15th is set solely for case management. So that's just the start of the case, which could take weeks and months ahead. So I just had to put that on record before anybody comes out and say we're misspeaking about what the judge said or about what's going to take place in court. Now, to your point about general elections, it leads into that, because if we're talking about case management on January 15th, then we're looking at a few weeks. The court could move fast if it's pushed to do so. If it's spurred along by those who can make that happen. You're talking about weeks after, before these matters are fully ventilated and the court comes to a ruling. There's birds around chirping that the Belizean administration is preparing to call the general elections. It's preparing to set a date for the general elections. In fact, we saw yesterday in the Senate where the Senate debated as a part of a supplementary $106 million supplementary that was debated in the previous House meeting, $106 million supplementary. A part of that, there's a portion that speaks to general elections. This is going to the Elections and Boundaries Department. And Mr. Perryfeet, being the wise man he is, Senator Perryfeet, he deduced for the public that if you are bringing this line item under a supplementary budget during a fiscal period that is supposed to end by March, then it only means, or it only makes sense, that the general elections will be called before the fiscal year 2024-2025 is over.
Yeah.
Because if that's not the case, then just wait for the new budget, put the supplementary, in fact, just budget it in, so it doesn't come as a supplementary necessarily, but it comes as an actual part of the budget. So, to me, it seems as if what we've been speculating for some time is going to pan out, and there are suggestions that the election date may be announced today, which would give the Presiding Administration time to dissolve the National Assembly and the administration, and then 30 days after to hold a general election. Talk about kicking a man while he's down.
Yeah, but we've been speaking about this for months, though.
Yeah.
I think regardless if he made the announcement, and by he I mean Prime Minister made the announcement this week or last week or even next month, it would still be kicking a man when he's down, because the UDP seems to really be struggling to find their footing and healing from within. But just moving along, of course, we do know that this means that the UDP only has little time to really and truly get their team together to prepare for the next general elections. So this is something we will be monitoring. I know this week we do have a House meeting, today, which is actually today. So we will be, of course, providing coverage to that and then giving you some details on what exactly took place in our newscast.
This is why I'm saying that it's likely that the Prime Minister will announce the elections and the date today. And yesterday, when this supplementary was being debated, Senator Courtney took a jab at Senator Perfit and said, you want to find out tomorrow. So, you know how we could do it? We just want to hear one league gossip, you hear what he said. That means you haven't heard. So it's one of those things we'll continue to follow. And so while in Belize, you have a lot of people excited about what's happening, and it may cause some people to want to run away into the great USA or run in the other direction. According to Forbes magazine, Belize, according to Forbes actually, Belize is actually one of the most sought after destinations for those looking to flee the U.S.
Yeah, and that's really interesting, because speaking of politics, that was how they even started this article. They mentioned that, you know, with tensions high in the U.S. right now, just coming off the heels of their general elections on November 5th, a lot of Americans are considering migrating, which is really interesting because we know the United States to be the first world country that many people across the world want to migrate to. But no, Americans, they're looking to flee. And according to Forbes, Belize is in the top 3 of places that you should move to if you're considering migrating for various reasons. Of course, they speak about our lush greenery, the environment on its own, but how easy it is to even move to Belize and gain that status as well. Really interesting article. As I mentioned, this is a Forbes article. Now, I know that a lot of people have spoken about the idea of moving to Belize tourists. That is, we do know that a lot of expats, a lot of immigrants from the United States and all over the world do live in Belize as well. But to really speak of Belize as one of those places where it's on the top of their bucket list to move to, it was really interesting to me.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that Belizeans want to move away from Belize and move to the U.S. and we're finding all sorts of back doors to get to the U.S. And then you have Americans that have this huge desire to move to Belize, but I think it's also about the economy and the economic situation from America to Belize. That translates $1 US to $2. And then from Belizeans are thinking, man, I could make $1 US and that translates to $2 in Belize. I'll run after that. But quite interesting, and perhaps this may cause us to see an increase in expats and in sort of migration increase over the coming months and year. But it's not bad. Bringing that foreign investment as well is such a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our final topic this morning, and perhaps it will be cited in our weather update. This is something that I saw online where apparently the National Hurricane Center is keeping a close eye on the potential hit of Tropical Storm Sarah. Lurking over Central America and potentially making landfall close to Belize or on Belize around the 19th celebration. So if you guys are planning to head out to Dangriga this weekend, you might want to take heed to this weather developing over our region as well.
So it hasn't developed into anything as yet, Sabrina, just so our audience is clear on that. It's just a broad area weather system per se, way out there in the Eastern Caribbean, close by. But as of this morning, the National Hurricane Center has upgraded its chance for development to 70%.
Yeah.
Now, what we see in terms of the red cone, etc., it's just showing the probability of where it may develop. It's not necessarily a direction. I think forecasters, they want to see the system develop first before they really start to zone in on directions. But this is one we're watching, and a lot of people are already talking about what the 19th of November will look like. I know it tends to be rainy on the 19th anyways, but I don't think it tends to be tropical stormy.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something. But this is quite resemblant of Lisa. If we think about the dates in terms of when Lisa hit,
very true. It
was in late November as well. And so we got to be on our guards, and we have to keep a close eye on this. And pray to God that we're spared, and that our Caribbean brothers and those in the region are also spared from any sort of disaster.
All right, well, that does it for What's Buzzing. If you have any thoughts on either of the topics that were mentioned this morning, let us know in the comments section. Moving now to our weather update. As we mentioned, we are monitoring the potential of a tropical storm developing. So let's get that official outlook from the folks at the Met Service.
Good morning. Generally fair conditions will support sunny skies with a few cloudy spells today and cloudy skies at times tonight. Showers or thunderstorms will be isolated except for slightly more over inland areas this afternoon and southern areas tonight. Isolated showers or thunderstorms will continue around the country Wednesday, increasing along the coast and over southern areas Wednesday night. Winds today along the coast and over the open seas will be light and variable, and seas will be slight. High tides will occur at 7 o'clock this morning and 7:05 tonight. Low tides follow at 1:04 this afternoon and 1:50 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 80 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 88 along the coast, and 92 inland. The moon will rise at 2:50 this afternoon, and sunset is at 5:17 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, impacts, if any, from sargassum will continue to be minimal as observations show little to no sargassum over our area. In the tropical weather outlook, a tropical wave over the central Caribbean Sea is producing an area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms and has a low chance of development over the next 48 hours. Conditions appear conducive for further development as the system moves westward into the western Caribbean Sea. The National Meteorological Service will continue to monitor this system closely. That's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
All right, there you have it, your update from the folks at the Met Service. Moving now into our show lineup. Now, this definitely gives a new definition to a jam-packed show, but in our first conversation, we'll be talking to a representative from the Statistical Institute of Belize, and we'll be talking about the establishment survey and how your business can get involved.
And then our second segment, we'll be hearing from UNICEF as they count down to their UNICEF Adolescent Girls Town Hall, with over 300 girls from all over the country.
Wonderful. In our third conversation, it's all about raising awareness for World Prematurity Day.
And then our fourth conversation, we'll be looking into how Belize is contributing to regional shark conservation.
And finally, we'll be chatting with folks from the Chamberlain Consultings Limited, and they'll be talking to us about how you can achieve success with Dionne Chamberlain.
Yeah, a lot of chit chat this morning.
A lot of chit chat, but we got to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by SIV to talk to us about various topics. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
El Patio Grill has been using Belize Bank for over 25 years. We only use Belize Bank at our restaurant. That's why we were able to win this trip to Europe. I had never been to Europe. We found out it was Madrid and we were excited and we went to this football match. The teams reached before the game and everybody was just outside, you know. You can't explain, the noise just roared like 3 blocks down the street, but when you got in there and you saw 70,000 people in there, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it was happening. I had to pinch myself to make sure it was real, you know, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, I'd say. My lucky plus one was my son. He's 18 years old, so he was really excited and he enjoyed it as well. He said it's his best trip ever, so it's a priceless experience that we got. Belize Bank has always been there for me. Whatever transactions or whatever I need to do, they're always there for me. I would recommend everybody to use Belize Bank. It's the oldest bank in our country and they continue to do their best.
Belize, get ready. In Your Kitchen, Belize Edition is bringing you simple, healthy, delicious meals made just for you. Join Chef Ainsley and our team of nutritionists as they show you how to turn local favorites into nutritious, tasty dishes. Plus, discover the amazing health benefits of everyday foods right from your kitchen. Catch the premiere on Channel 5 on November 18th at 7:30 p.m. And tune in every Monday after for healthier cooking that's easy and fun. Brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, with support from Taiwan ICDF, making healthy cooking a Belizean tradition.
Welcome back. We are having our first conversation this morning, and as we mentioned, it's all about the Belize Statistical Institute of Belize talking to us about a survey that they did, essentially speaking to the business community. Now, we are joined this morning by Jacqueline Sabal, and she is the acting manager of the Economic Statistics Department. Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so as we mentioned, this morning we'll be talking about about a survey that was recently done to essentially gather information from the business sector. Let's talk about that this morning.
So currently, the SIB is conducting the business establishment survey like you mentioned. So we're in the field at the moment. We started November 4th, which was last week, and we go up until December 20th. So we have a couple weeks left to go, but right now we're in the field doing data collection. We did this survey previously in 2016 as the SIB, and we also did a similar version of it, but more targeted to find out what the impact of COVID was on businesses. So it wasn't as detailed or as robust as this one that we're doing currently, but we did something on the impact of COVID on businesses previously. But now we're in the field with the BES 2024. And like I mentioned, we're out doing data collection. This survey is very important for us at the SIB. It's a national survey, so we're doing data collection countrywide. We have a sample of around 3,000 businesses that we're collecting data on. And it ranges across various industries, so no one is excluded.
So you mentioned that in 2016, the goal in mind was to more collect information on COVID-19?
No, not the 2016 one. The impact of COVID-19 survey, I believe, was around 2020.
Okay, so you guys do it every 4 years?
This survey, as big as it is, it's something that we do roughly every 5 years or so.
Okay, every 5 years.
The thing is, we've noticed that a lot of things have changed with how businesses operate. I mean, coming from COVID, trade has changed based on the war that was in the Ukraine. So there are things that we want to be able to capture in this survey that speak to those changes so that we could have a more updated structure of the Belizean economy. The thing with this business establishment survey, it's like a stepping stone for us who compile national accounts. We need it along with the household budget survey that will be out in the field. Hopefully I'll be here to promote that again as well. And then also with data from the census. So with those three surveys, we'll be able to have a more updated picture of what economic activity is like in Belize. So it's a very important survey for us, it's crucial for us, and we need that business support.
So what are some of the data we're looking for, or perhaps a better way to put it is, what are some of the questions that businesses are being asked?
Okay, so the way the questionnaire is set up, it's set up in 3 components. So we have questionnaire A, we have questionnaire B, and we have questionnaire C. So questionnaire A is the more generic component of the questionnaire, where we capture the company profile, your location, what type of activity your business is doing, what your workforce is like, what your skill set of your workforce is like, what you need, what you expect in the future. So there's a generic component to the questionnaire, which is questionnaire A. Now, where it gets a bit trickier and more detailed is when we go to questionnaire B and questionnaire C, because we're asking for detailed financial information.
Can you do that?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
How receptive has the business community been, though?
It's good that you asked that question. We're trying to improve from what we did previously in 2016 when we did this survey, because the questionnaire A, the response rate was fairly high for that component because it's generic, it's basic things. But when you get to revenue, expenditure, your customer type, your customer profile, your cost of inputs, what production, what you're producing, the cost of inputs, etc. So when you look at those aspects of production and how your business operates, you need to ensure that you communicate that with the businesses and you want them to have trust in you to hold that type of information. So we, like I mentioned, we're trying to improve from what we did previously, and because the response rate for those 2 components were not as high, we're also incorporating an online component. So we're doing face-to-face interviews, but we're also allowing businesses to complete the survey online. So when our interviewers get to your establishment for that face-to-face interview, they will administer questionnaire A. We encourage them to do B and C all at once, but because it's more detailed and let's say you're not able to at that immediate moment, you're able to do it online. And we send you credentials, and then you access a secure portal, and you're able to self-administer that portion.
So that's A and B. What has been your experience with questionnaire C?
Sorry, well, B and C,
they're similar.
Yeah. In terms of response rate for B and C is very, very similar.
How do you all build confidence among businesses where your surveyors or those collecting the data are concerned? Do they go through a level of training to ensure professionalism and confidentiality?
Correct. So we have, for this survey, we had 2 weeks of training with our field staff. And we stress confidentiality. That's one of the key things that we stress when we do training, because establishments need to know that their information is safe with us, that their information is secure with us. So without that, we need to build rapport with them in that sense. But also not just on that immediate meeting, we try to do stakeholder visits to some of these establishments, or even at another stage at the association level, the business community, let them know that, okay, we're coming around, we're going to be doing this survey, we need your participation, these are the benefits, you know. So we try to interact with them as much as we can before we actually head out into the field, so that they also know that we're coming. But confidentiality definitely is something that we stress in training and when we visit them, so that they know and that they're aware. And our field staff also have to sign an oath of secrecy when they work with us and when they start the training. And we are mandated as well by our Statistics Act that confidentiality is key for us.
Wonderful. So you mentioned that the survey began on the 4th of November. How long will this data collection period last, and what can business persons who will be surveyed expect?
Okay, so data collection it started last week, November 4th. It will go up until December 20th. But the way we're doing it is also in like a 2-stage type of component. So we have that face-to-face interview. If we can't get you face-to-face, or if you can't complete it in that one sitting, like I mentioned, we'll allow you to do it online. But we also have telephone operators that will be calling these businesses, because we're not going to send you the credentials and leave you alone. We need to ensure that you actually do it. So we're going to have telephone operators situated at our HQ location in Belmopan, and they will be responsible for calling and following up with these businesses to ensure that they complete the survey online.
What's the benefits of a survey like this to the general public?
There's a lot of industry analysis that can come out of this survey, primarily because it's so detailed. So when we do those stakeholder visits, we try to let the businesses know as well that yes, the information is important to us at the Statistical Institute, but you can also benefit from the information that we collect as well. I mean, you can ask for data and at a certain aggregated level. I mean, there are certain things we're not able to disclose, but at a certain aggregated level, you can see what type of establishments are in your community, what's in your area, and reach out to us and we'll see how best we can accommodate that for you. Because even when we did our stakeholder visits, we asked the businesses that same question, like, what is it that the SIB can do from this survey that would benefit your organization? What's a question that you would like for us to ask? And we had them give us some responses to that, and we were able to incorporate something for them in the questionnaire. So it's interesting in that aspect, and we hope that they're able to see the benefits of the survey for them.
I mean, when you look at some of the topics in there, income statement, sales by customer type, inventory, and capital expenditure, these are huge things in a market to understand. That just as Belizeans generally we don't quite understand, because we don't necessarily get this information just out there. When's the last time we did a survey exactly like this?
The last one like this was in 2016.
2016.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, we had pretty good responses when we did it back then, and we're hoping we get just as high or even higher of our response rate for our Part A questionnaire. But also we hope to improve from what we did in Part B. I mean, we hope that we're learning from what we did the last time, and that with this website component, that will improve that for us.
Now it's businesses at all levels. We're looking at small, medium, micro, even to micro, and then large.
Correct. So we have a proportional aspect of our survey where we're capturing a percentage of large businesses, the big boys, the important ones that really contribute to the economy. We're also capturing those medium-sized, small, and also some of the smaller businesses. So we have a great ratio of businesses there in the sample that we selected. And we also selected them based on revenue as well. So that's another way for us to ensure that everyone sort of has a chance based on your size and your industry, etc.
So how do businesses participate? You have your sample size, but have you specifically identified businesses, or is it open to where businesses can now say, well, I want to be a part of this survey?
We did a random sample from our census. So we did the census in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So we got a list of establishments from there, but we also merged that with our internal statistical business register that we have at the SIB. So we have a register of formal businesses, and then we were also able to get some of the smaller informal businesses from the census when we did that merging. So we have our internal listing that we have, but we're using some of the formal businesses list as well.
Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. Jacqueline, thank you so much for joining us this morning. As we wrap up this conversation, I'll ask if you have any final words you'd like to share with our viewers or our business community.
I think I'd just like to ask that businesses support, be on the lookout for our interviewers. They'll be wearing white t-shirts. It has the SIB logo on the back, and they'll be carrying their official ID. So participate. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you too, and we wish you guys all the best. Moving now into our second conversation. After the break, we'll be talking about UNICEF championing adolescent girls in their town hall. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
I'm connected. Yo.
I'm connected.
We're connected. Create the perfect broadband bundle that fits your style with Smart Connect. With the Junior Bundle, get 50% off your national calls and up to 6 gigabytes of data at no extra cost. Get postpaid added on for an additional cost of only $25 with the Prime Bundle. Stay connected with unlimited smart-to-smart calls plus 6,300 megabytes of data and free international minutes. For the family, get the Binge Watchers bundle with Netflix add-on for only $28.13 more. This bundle gives you 4 profiles with unlimited streaming on multiple devices. Visit a showroom near you to sign up and personalize your own bundle combination with Smart Connect. Smart, bringing people together.
Welcome back. This is our second conversation for this morning. Thank you for staying tuned. It's all about championing UNICEF's Adolescent Girls Town Hall. Quite interesting. And so we have joining us this morning Ms. Stephanie Daniels, who is Communications Officer over at UNICEF, as well as Dr. Tanisha Ross, who is Education Officer at the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science, and Technology. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure always to have you all. Adolescent Girls Town Hall. Let's talk about it. What are the details? Give us the inside scoop.
Okay, so this is the second year. And what we're doing essentially is we're inviting high school age girls from across the country to be at the Belize Civic Center on November 14th. And we're talking empowerment, we're talking leadership, and we're talking about their vision for their future, which is the theme for this year. So this event is actually in commemoration of the International Day of the Girl, which was in October, but we've deferred the celebration to November to bring it closer to the World Children's Day as a part of our 35th anniversary of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. So the girls come, they hear empowering speeches, and this year we're also asking them to tell us what is it that they want UNICEF to work on for Belize to be better for the girls?
So UNICEF is known as the UN organization that is mandated to provide information to girls in particular, yes?
All children.
Children.
Yeah.
What has this year been like in terms of reaching young girls in Belize?
We've had a lot of partnerships, and that's why Dr. Ross is here, because the Ministry of Education has been a very critical partner in reaching, especially children in school. So in terms of the access to technology and promoting girls in STEAM, one of the projects we've worked on is the Lead Like a Girl campaign, which Dr. Ross can speak a little bit more on. We've also done things with other partners that look at building girls' access to psychosocial support. For example, our partnership with RET and CDF Belize does a lot of that, where we're looking at girls in vulnerable populations. So whether it's migrant communities or it's girls that have been in contact with the law because of some type of abuse or exploitation. In terms of health, we have what's called the Adolescent Health Strategy, which is a partnership with the Ministry of Health and Wellness that looks at how do we increase access to services for adolescents and allowing them to have their the spaces to access counseling and other types of services. So with various partners, we have done programs that support girls, looking at it from whatever the vantage point is of the need and the inequities that they face.
Dr. Ross, I'd like to bring you into the conversation to talk a bit about your perspectives, your ministry's perspective on this entire forum that's taking place, and what your involvements are like.
Okay, well, as Ms. Daniels mentioned, I work with the Ministry of Education and primarily in the Student Welfare Unit that takes a look at students on a whole. But the ministry welcomes this initiative partnering with UNICEF because as you had on their previous segment, they talking about surveys, you know, there is that analysis that we pay attention to where the girls, the analysis states that girls, while they are courageous in their crisis, they are still hopeful towards the future. And so the Ministry of Education takes a look at all of these things, especially within its curriculum, where we offer these 7 macro competencies, and it all embeds a particular aspect of our children, primarily now girls, since we're focusing on girls, to be collaborative, to be effective in communication, to be leaders, to appreciate the multicultural aspect, and to sustain human development. And so our partnership is really to continue looking at the welfare, health, and safety needs of students. And so we are excited to meet the students because they'll all convene, and we really want to hear what are their thoughts and what are some of those skills that they would like to develop. And so as a ministry, how we can best support them.
Ms. Daniels, let's talk a bit about the format of this event to get an idea of how it is that we're speaking with and not to the young ladies.
So the first thing we did is we found inspiring women who could share their stories, because we learn a lot from conversation. You would know as a morning show program, right? So we are inviting 4 very visionary women to share their personal experiences, to tell the girls what it has required of them to be at the spaces where they are. So you're looking at people like Miss Michelle Irvin, who is a powerhouse in terms of advocacy for girls, especially in the South. You're looking at Miss Christy Almeida, who has just kind of like blasted on the scenes, you know, championing children with different abilities. You're looking at Dr. Lydia Guerra, who is one of the first female medical officers in the Belize Defense Force. And then we're also including, who's the other one? I'm forgetting the 4th person. But these women are sharing their stories and telling the girls, giving them guidance, right? So that's the first part, hearing stories. In the afternoon now, what they'll do is they'll separate into groups and they'll have conversations about, okay, what is it that I'm struggling with in my communities and where girls have challenges? And then based on those challenges, what is it that we think are some of the priority areas that the people who can do something about it should focus on? And then the last thing we're asking them to do is then to tell us, well, what are some of the skills that you may not be learning or you need to learn more of for us to be able to equip you to chase that dream that you may have? So, of course, it's punctuated with some fun. So we have some music, some performances, and thanks to the partnerships with our stakeholders, there will be what's called a marketplace, where the girls will be able to go and learn from other organizations what are the services that are available for them and how they can access it. So it's education, it's edutainment, it's inspiration, and what we hope to get from this when the 300 girls leave is they're almost a 10-point advocacy goal for us in terms of what these girls have told us are priority areas we should focus on in the coming year.
Dr. Ross, why do you think it's important to hear from the 300 girls themselves about the issues they're facing, and what can we really do about these challenges from a legislative perspective or even from a community perspective?
Well, it's important for us to hear the voices of our youths, and we keep mentioning with the girls here because we are to advocate on their behalf, but better yet hear what they really want for the changes to be made, rather than us assuming these changes and then we don't hit the nail on the head. So it's best that we allow them to be in a safe space and to exemplify their voices or amplify their voices, so that they know and have that value in what they want in the future, because they are going to be the future of tomorrow. So it's best that we hear directly from them rather than we
Guess.
And
assume.
Speaking up is a process, right?
Yes.
Especially if you have not been accustomed to being asked what are your thoughts. So what these spaces does is it creates the culture where the children learn my opinion holds weight and people will listen, and that there is no right or wrong answer, and that the more they are encouraged and have this experience where they're listened to, that's where you build a culture to speak up, because it's not our norm. We have a saying that children should be seen and not heard. So we're trying to cause this paradigm shift where we understand no, children have their own level of agency, and it is part of our responsibility in rearing them to give them that space to grow into their own, to have a voice, recognize their voice, and to know when to use their voice.
My question has to do with representation of where these girls will be coming from. We know that it's 300 students, but are we looking at these 300 students coming from each corner of the country? Because when we think about a girl and their individual experience, I personally imagine that it differs in certain parts of the country.
Definitely.
Their cultural experience differs as well. How are we looking into that?
So thanks to the support from the Ministry of Education, we've been able to reach those schools in all districts. So there is a contingent of girls coming from the south, from Toledo, from Corozal up north. We've worked with the bus companies to be able to, they're leaving very early. Some of them are leaving at like 5 in the morning.
Wow.
So we're very cognizant of what it takes for them to participate, but we've made every effort to ensure that there's representation from each district and that we have different voices and experiences in this conversation.
So the 14th, which is Thursday?
Yes.
That's Thursday, and it begins when?
9 to 2:30.
To 2:30. Sounds like it's going to be a rich conversation and also an opportunity for these young ladies from all across the country, as I mentioned, to share what their experience is to be a girl in Belize. I know that this is no new venture for UNICEF because, of course, you guys collect information on girls and children by extension. I'd say every day or every year. So this is just a continuation of that. And to see the partnership with a stakeholder like the Ministry of Education is also commendable. As we wrap up this conversation, I'll ask if you ladies have any final thoughts you'd like to share with our viewers.
Well, I would like to encourage those students who have been selected to start dialoguing and having a discourse with their friends, because perhaps not all of them would be present at the event. And so that initial dialogue can start to spark some of the discussions that they will have on Thursday. So I encourage them to start dialoguing with their friends.
That's important.
Yes.
Yeah, and then for me, well, the theme is Girls' Vision for Their Future, and we have a hashtag. It's called Girl Goals. Girl Goals.
Girl Goals.
You know, the young people say, "Oh, this is goals." Yeah. So that day we'll be talking about girl goals, and so that's my. You know, I always leave with a challenge. That's my challenge for this week for the women of our country and those watching to think of how they can encourage other girls and be girl goals for this week.
Wonderful. Girl goals. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. And of course, we wish you guys all the best.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, too.
We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, the conversation switches into diving into Belizean shark conservation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
Upcoming enhancements to My Social Security. The new healthcare provider feature seamlessly connects healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers to facilitate the payment of sickness benefits. Here are the enhancements. Registered healthcare providers will create and submit online medical certificates using their healthcare provider accounts. Insured persons will receive a link to view the medical certificate to complete and submit their sickness benefit claim. And employers will receive an email notification of their employee's sickness claim. Also, the insured person and their employer will receive a copy of the claim decision letter after review. Healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers are encouraged to create a portal account to access and benefit from these new services on My Social Security at ssbportal.org.bz. My Social Security online portal. Social Security at your fingertips.
My name is Waluko Mejia. I'm the General Manager at Prematurity Lodge here in Toledo, Belize. The Belize Bank service we appreciate most is the Belize Bank ATM and the use of its debit card. It makes it very accessible for our employees here at Prematurity Lodge. Essentially, they could access the ATM on their way home after work, and also that the local stores accept the use of a debit card.
Welcome back, guys. We're jumping into, or I should say, we're diving into our third conversation this morning, and it's all about Belize shark conservation. We are joined this morning by Kenneth Esquivel, and he is a fisheries officer representing the Belize Fisheries Department. Also joining us is Hector Daniel Martinez, and he is the vice chairman of Shark Fishers Association. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome.
Good morning.
So we are diving into Belizean shark conservation. Just earlier we were talking about shark on panades, and if you ever had shark in your panades. And I mean, apparently Paul has, but he didn't even know. But when we talk about shark conservation in Belize, what does that look like?
First of all, I want to say that a lot of people are not, they're not aware that we do have a shark fishery in Belize. They're relatively small when compared to lobster and conch, which are the major export commodities. But we do have a small shark fishery, well managed, well regulated. Usually the shark fishers are from the south, Riversdale, Stan Creek, Belize City. We really don't have much fishers up in the north. Very small group of fishers. Before COVID, we had a average number of 70 fishers, shark fishers. But after COVID, then the numbers got reduced to an average of 40 fishers. Just last year, we had 42 fishers registered for doing shark fishing. Also, what made the numbers go down is the banning of the gill nets, which occurred in 2020. One of the major fishing gears was gill nets. So most of them fishers that use gill net now diverted to other commodities like lobster and conch, and some of them just went out of the fishery. Now the only gear that is used is the long line. But looking at the conservation efforts, the Belize Fisheries Department have partners with different scientists, different NGOs that conduct these kind of work. And in this instance, we're here to discuss the partnership with the Moat Foundation and the Shark Fishermen Association, Fisher Association. So it's working together to conserve, to manage these fisheries, make it sustainable for future generations.
So you mentioned that shark fishing is done primarily in a certain part of the country. Do we find that we need to put a cap on certain periods where the fishing takes place, the way we would do lobster and conch, for example?
Like I said from the beginning, the shark fishery is well regulated and well managed. We have a closed season. Just we had the amendment of the regulations, the SI 128 of 2020, which some of the important changes that were made within the fisheries. Shark fishery was the implementation of no-take zones around the atolls, 2 mile radius around the 3 atolls, where no fishing of shark can occur. And this was in order to protect these areas where a lot of sharks were seen aggregating, could be for maybe mating, could be that they are living in that area. And it's one for tourism. You know that a lot of tourists come to Belize to swim with the sharks, swim with the different
certain
fishes,
sharks,
like that,
yeah.
And also to protect these species that they might be aggregating for spawning or something. So those areas are well protected through this new SI. And also we shortened the open season. Now the open seasons run from November 1st, which we just opened the season this month, and it runs to the ending of April.
Okay.
And the season is usually driven by market demand. During the Lenten season is when most of the shark meat is consumed. Not in Belize, although we consume a little bit, the local market consume a little bit, but most is exported to the neighboring country of Guatemala, where the demand for shark meat during the Lenten season is there. So after the Lenten season, which happened around March, April, then ending of April, the season is closed, and then it reopens again until November.
Is there a type of shark that we would fish?
In Belize, we usually have and here's Hector here that
correct. I gather Hector is a shark fisher.
Yes.
You fish for shark, right?
Yes.
How long have you been doing it? And just then to piggyback on Sabrina's question as well in terms of type.
Yeah, since about 2015.
Okay.
We have around 50 species of shark, and so when you set your long lines for shark, you can't say, oh, I only want to catch reef shark or I only want to catch this one.
Yeah.
The only one really you don't really catch on there, or I've never seen anyone catch, is the whale shark, because it's so big it would probably just bust the line and get away. But you catch any species of shark when you fish. Nurse shark you can catch, but they're 99% of the time alive, and so you have to release them because you're not allowed to keep them, but they're always alive.
I mean alive.
They're not dead. So you take the hook out and you release the shark back.
So is that like the process? And not to get too much into the details, but are you saying that after a fight with a shark, the shark dies before it comes to the boat?
Different species of shark dies at different time. Like a hammerhead shark will die much quicker because they need to be swimming so they can breed, right? A nurse shark can lay on the bottom and not have to swim and can breed. And they also don't fight when you're pulling them up. What they like to do is spin around like a crocodile once they come up to the top, and you got to be careful because the line gets wrapped around your hand, your finger is gone or something.
For you, what's your thoughts on shark conservation? Like, do you see it as beneficial or an impediment to the work that you do?
Shark conservation is really, really important. From a fisherman view of it, we want to be able to fish shark indefinitely. We want to be able to fish shark forever. And we understand that without conservation, without proper regulations and stuff, it's going to come to a point where it might have to be closed, right? So that's why the fishers got on board with doing research and understanding how the data is being collected, and understanding that when new regulations, new law has to come in place, why that has to come in place, because it's for the better good.
How long have you been fishing sharks?
Since 2015.
Since 2015, and what got you into this type of work?
Well, I grew up with my grandparents and my dad and my uncle. I started off lobstering, then I learned to dive and got more into lobstering, and then started shark fishing with my uncle, and then gradually got my own equipment and moved on to doing my own stuff. And then in 2018, we were approached by Dr. Chapman, and that's when I started doing more research, tagging the sharks and releasing them.
What perhaps are some misconceptions that people have about sharks, that they're dangerous?
They're scary.
A big misconception is if you yell panadas, they go away.
Yeah.
Or if a drop of blood drops in the water,
Yeah.
Is it over?
No, it's not over. It's not over. A lot of time, all the evidence shows that for the most part, if a shark does attack you, confuse you for a fish, it'll bite once and realize you're not a fish, and it won't come back.
So only
for
once. One bite. But
usually they don't bite you once. It's very rare that it happens.
So you've been a part of the research. Does that include for you diving and kind of being down there with the sharks?
I love diving with sharks. It's the first time. Before 2018, I would say I rarely saw sharks diving because the shark fishery wasn't doing so great. And then we started doing the research, and the fishermen are fishing less days and all that stuff. And now you're seeing much more sharks. So the first time I dove with shark, I was a little bit worried. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. Everyone feels that way about sharks. And then I got in the water, and the shark swam by super slow.
Was that
and
picture
it was amazing.
you that we just saw?
There was one of the video there of the shark going over like that. That was me taking the video, and that was my buddies on the back.
On the other side.
Yeah, that was at Lighthouse Reef. Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Is it this video here?
Yes, this video, and I'm shooting with a 8-inch dome port, so it's like super wide angle. The shark is probably, I could have put my hand out and touch it. That's how close it is.
What type of shark is that?
That is a Caribbean reef shark. Beautiful Caribbean reef shark.
Is it not like one of the notoriously aggressive sharks?
No.
Okay.
No, that Caribbean reef shark is one of the sharks that people die with a lot. It's not notoriously aggressive.
Yeah.
The Caribbean reef shark is, there's a paper out there that's saying that it's overfished in Belize, which is not based on scientific evidence because they don't do research. Mara Lyons recently posted on Facebook that the reef shark population is coming back in Belize, and I think all that has to do with the banding of the gill net and the fishers doing the research and understanding why stuff needs to happen, and also the buffer zone, like Kenneth mentioned, around the atolls. It's really making a difference.
On average, how many sharks would a group of fishermen or a fisherman fish on a season basis?
Different camps fish different amount. There's 2 bigger camps. I think they produce somewhere maybe around 10,000 pounds per season in that 6 months, 10,000 pounds of filleted shark. So each camp. And then the smaller camps, they produce way less, but yeah.
Last shark fishing season, we got a production of 50,000 pounds of live weight, which boils down to like 21,000 pounds of salted fillet, because the shark meat is usually exported salted. It's not whole shark.
Fresh,
yeah,
right?
it's not fresh, no.
So does regulations define a limit in terms of amount?
No, we don't have a quota in the shark fishery. However, it's we inspect the shark meat to determine that it's shark meat. Since 2023, CITES, it was a meeting in Panama for CITES that the CITES decided to place all requiem shark species under Appendix 2, which simply means that they still can be traded. However, further studies need to happen for meat to be legally traded, like non-detrimental findings should be developed by the country. Also, that export permits should be issued before these meat can be exported, and that's what the Fisheries Department do. We work hand in hand with the fishers. They submit catch logs, which is a requirement under their license, and we get the data from them. We have gotten some regression and conversion factors from the scientists that we work with, Dr. Chapman and his team, with the Shark Fisher Association. So we have a lot of information where we make site visits at the camp, we get that data from fishers, we use the regressions from the scientists, and we develop how many salted meat there should be if you have so much pounds of shark, live shark. So we know that. So if they report that they have 100 pounds of shark meat, we know how much pounds they should have of salted fillet shark. So we make that conversion, and then we issue them a CITES certificate where they can now legally export to other countries.
Yeah, so it's super important for the association to be on board with this. And one of the things I've learned this morning I didn't know before is that it's legal to fish sharks
Yes.
in Belize.
You know, and that's the beauty about the shark fish in Belize, that we work hand in hand with the Shark Fisher Association. And when new regulations come, it comes out from them, not just from us, from the Belize Fisheries Department, but it's a scientific, data-driven decision that is done. The fishers take part, the scientists take part, and the authorities, which is the Belize Fisheries Department, also take part. So we come together, we come up with these management measures, and when we implement them, there's no problem because it came up from them. So that's the beauty of it.
What are the fines involved if vendors even are found with shark meat outside of the season?
Well, there's specific regulation that speaks about having shark meat, and not just shark meat, but any other commodity outside the season. So they're fined. There's specific regulation that have fines.
Now, Hector, do you have to have a specific permit to fish sharks? Is that like something you have to have?
There's a special permit called a shark fishing license, and so as it is right now, each fisher needs a shark fishing license, each fisher on the boat. But I think starting January there might be a new regulation on there where only the boats would require a fishing license, and that makes it easier for the fishers because sometimes you have a worker and you have to go through all this process of getting them a shark license, and then they get sick or they decide they don't like the job anymore and they want to quit, and then you have to go through the whole process over again to get someone else a new license. And
yeah, that's actually what he's saying. It's something that has come up from the Fisher Association. It's something that the Fisheries Department is looking at. And depending on what the data and what the research is saying, then we might move towards a direction. But for now, the season remains the same. You need a shark fisherman license, which we call the special license. The cost for it is $100. And you need a shark export permit. So you need those two before you could legally fish for sharks.
So for you, what's the market like in Belize? Do you have customers here at the Lipanade shop, and are you allowed to sell here in Belize?
Yes, you can sell to anyone, but both fisheries department, the scientists, everyone knows that if you are a big fishing camp out there catching 10,000 pounds of shark per year, you can't say, oh, I sold it to the Panade shop in Belize.
Correct.
No, you have to show evidence that you exported that legally. So the market in Belize is very small. It's very few people buying sharks. They usually sometimes buy the dry shark right close to the Semana Santa. Most of it goes to Guatemala.
So I can't really, in Belize, go in a store and go in the refrigerator section and buy a pound of shark meat?
I've seen it like once in Brodes. Like it's beautifully white, wrapped and look nice.
I'm interested.
Very rare. But if you're gonna eat shark, eat fresh.
Eat it fresh.
Eat it fresh. That's when it tastes good. Yeah.
Well, I know that a lot of people, as we mentioned, associate sharks as predators, you know. How would you take away that misconception that as you jump in a water and you think about a shark swimming around you, death is imminent?
I don't know what the correct words are to say how you take that away, but from my experience, I was nervous. I've always been in the water, but I'd never been with a shark, and I was nervous about it until I was in that moment in the Bahamas with, I don't know, 40 sharks that they're feeding, and I was just calm. There was no fear. I went in thinking I would be scared, and I wasn't. So I think it's something you experience, and then you realize, okay, these sharks aren't actually there to eat me. They're not trying to eat me. I got surrounded by a bull shark. A bull shark circled me about a month ago because I had a fish in my hand. I had struck the hog snapper and I had that in my hand, and I was swimming with it, and all of a sudden this big bull shark comes out of nowhere and starts circling me, and all I did was give it the fish. It wanted the fish, it didn't want me.
Kudos to you, my brother. I'll look on from a distance, because the moment I jump in that water, shark will say, oh, Christmas come early. Look at that ham, that nice piece of ham right there, served on a beautiful platter for me. But
I really lucky one.
But excellent work, gentlemen. Excellent work with conserving the shark population in Belize, and excellent work in bringing this information to us so that our audience really gets a clear understanding of what's happening. I'll give you both an opportunity for some final words.
I just want to note that the nurse shark and the whale sharks are illegal to catch in Belize, so you can't catch that. Although Hector mentioned it, that sometimes they're the nurse shark is hooking when they're fishing. But if you catch one, you need to release it.
That's what he said earlier as well.
You can't keep it. And well, the whale shark, it's impossible to catch on a line, so I think you will never catch it.
Is there a time for this study to be completed and for the data to be made public?
I'm not sure which study you're talking about, but this is an ongoing study.
Right.
No, this is ongoing. This is ongoing. And recently I heard, I think it's not news because it's been released, but I think there's a funding for $450,000 for the continuation of this research. And
so it's ongoing.
This type of research will include the Fisher Association, which some of the fishers are, instead of going fishing, they're paid to go with the scientists so they can assist the scientists in their research. So good news that this research is going to continue, and we hope we get more funding in the future to continue.
Final words from you, Hector.
Well, some of the scientific paper that has come out, one specific one is the new species that the hammerhead discovered in Belize.
Yes.
I know a lot of people are saying it's not a new species, which is true, but it's a new name species, a new discovery, because everyone thought it was the bonnet head, the same as you get in Florida and thing, but it's different than that. So locally, we always knew it as the shovelbill, and so that's why the scientists, that is now the official common name for it, the shovelbill. The Greenland shark, I'm sure you guys have heard about that. That was our team. You didn't hear about that? That was our team discovered that off the reef of Glovers. Yeah.
Oh, I heard about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and well, we hope the scientists and everyone keeps getting the funding so we can keep the work and keep the work going, and
I think
keep
it's
moving forward.
What this has inspired me to think is that it's time for us to send a news team out with you guys to really get some capture, and I'm sure they'll volunteer me.
He's volunteering
I'm sure they'll
already.
volunteer the beautiful piece of ham for Christmas.
Well, just so you know, the news team has to get in the water with their camera.
100%. Let's arrange that and make that happen. Gentlemen, thank you both so much for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you as well. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, the conversation switches into Digital Leadership Conference Belize 2024.
And I'm a teacher, and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer. With these online that Belize Bank offered is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
Yo.
I'm connected.
We're connected. Create the perfect broadband bundle that fits your style with Smart Connect. With the Junior Bundle, get 50% off your national calls and up to 6 gigabytes of data at no extra cost. Get postpaid added on for an additional cost of only $25 with the Prime Bundle. Stay connected with unlimited smart-to-smart calls plus 6,300 megabytes of data and free international minutes. For the family, get the Binge Watchers bundle with Netflix add-on for only $28.13 more. This bundle gives you 4 profiles with unlimited streaming on multiple devices. Visit a showroom near you to sign up and personalize your own bundle combination with Smart Connect. Smart, bringing people together.
My name is Hermine Vega. El Patio Grill has been using Belize Bank for over 25 years. We only use Belize Bank at our restaurant. That's why we were able to win this trip to Europe. I had never been to Europe. We found out it was Madrid and we were excited and we went to this football match. The teams reached before the game and everybody was just outside, you know. You can't explain, the noise just roared like 3 blocks down the street, but when you got in there and you saw 70,000 people in there, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it was happening. I had to pinch myself to make sure it was real, you know, because it's a one-in-a-lifetime experience, I'd say. My lucky plus one was my son. He's 18 years old, so he was really excited and he enjoyed it as well. He said this is his best trip ever, so it's a priceless experience that we got. Belize Bank has always been there for me. Whatever transactions or whatever I need to do, they're always there for me. I would recommend everybody to use Belize Bank. It's the oldest bank in our country and they continue to do their best.
Belize, get ready. In Your Kitchen, Belize Edition is bringing you simple, healthy, delicious meals made just for you. Join Chef Ainsley and our team of nutritionists as they show you how to turn local favorites into nutritious, tasty dishes. Plus, discover the amazing health benefits of everyday foods right from your kitchen. Catch the premiere on Channel 5 on November 18th at 7:30 p.m. And tune in every Monday after for healthier cooking that's easy and fun. Brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, with support from Taiwan ICDF, making healthy cooking a Belizean tradition.
Welcome back. This is our fourth conversation for this morning. Thank you for staying tuned. And this conversation is all about the Digital Leadership Conference Belize 2024. And we have a full set of guests on for this conversation. We have joining us Mr. Christian Jr., who is the CEO of RICS UK, Mr. Dominic Namis, who is the Head of Business Development at Neo People. We also have Mr. Tristan Coleman, the marketing manager at Smart. And last but certainly not least, Dr. Dionne Chamberlain, who's the managing director at Chamberlain Chamberlain, who's the managing director at Chamberlain Consulting Limited. Good morning.
Good morning. Full house, but we are so happy to have you guys here. I remember, Christian, the last time we spoke about the conference, you were joining us from England?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yes, virtually.
Right.
Good to have you here in Belize, man.
I'm so glad to
First
be here.
time?
No, my second time.
Second.
Actually. Yeah.
All right.
So good you had to come back again, yeah?
Absolutely.
Dr. Chamberlain, let's jump into the conversation to talk a bit about this digital leadership conference and the idea behind it.
Well, I'm the chairman of the Belize Coalition of Service Providers, which falls under the Ministry of Foreign Trade Directorate. And this is Services Week by the period. And so we are trying to push all of the service sector, which is of major importance for Belize. And that falls under digital and digitization. Definitely music and entertainment, and then of course the spa environment. So we're focusing mainly on digital. And when I met Christian, he was so excited. He knew all the statistics on Belize, all of where we were digitally, and he said, let's do something together. And of course, Juan Carlos Names, he is our Vice President of the Belize Coalition of Service Provider, and he is doing phenomenally well exporting his services into the Caribbean area, about 10 companies in Barbados and other countries. And honestly, Dominic is the manager in charge of that. Mm-hmm. And then of course, Smart has always been a supporter of all of my events and of all of our events, and they came on board as a sponsor, which is why Tristan is here. And so we're just here to talk about what we're going to be doing tomorrow. The big day is at the Belize Biltmore Plaza, starting from 8:30 until 6. And come out. Tickets are still available, a few, but I'd like for Christian to tell you all that he has planned, because he wants to see Belize grow. And having him here, I think, is something good for us to start the conversation.
Yeah, when we think digital, of course, we cannot forget to include Smart Belize as one of those leading businesses digitally. Let's talk about why Smart felt it important to collaborate and join forces with this conference.
Well, I think, as you rightfully said, when you think digital, you think telecom is a major role of that. Everything is connected through how we talk, how we text, through the internet. And Smart keeps innovating. We do that through our services. We have a list of corporate services that we provide to any business, whether it is small to those large enterprises. We have a service that can not only meet your level of efficiency, so you can operate efficient, but also it can fit your budget. Mm-hmm. And those are two very important things, because of course your business, you want profitability, but you also need to innovate, because we live in a market where there are so many competitors, not just on a national level, but we have international competitors coming in as well. So you have to keep innovating, and that's why Smart is a necessity in your business. Well, the internet and your connectivity is a necessity, and reaching out to your customers as well, not only on the operational standpoint, but for businesses themselves. We have different services, like there's the VoIP, there's your dedicated internet, there is your PBX services, you have the SMS blast when everyone keeps getting those texts from your favorite businesses, and those are just small portions of the services we have to offer. We also have our business unit that can do development services as well. And I think that's kind of, you have to know the right tools or how to utilize these tools, because anyone can have these tools, but using them correctly is what is important. And I think that's why an initiative like this is really beneficial to all those business owners. When we talk about our business sector, we have a fun saying in the department. We tell everybody, you know what you need to do? You need to mind your business.
Mind your business that pays you.
Yes.
But that's cybersecurity, right?
Yeah.
Minding it.
Yes, exactly. And we're looking forward to hearing more about what they have to offer, and we just want everyone who reach out to keep in mind that, remember, Smart can help you mind your business.
Now let's jump over to Christian. Talk a bit about what we mean when we use the term or the phrase digital leadership.
My friend has spoken very well here. I agree with almost everything he says.
Except for those text blasts.
So when you talk about digital leadership, I think it comes across as you know, in your subconscious mind, you're thinking, I've got to be a tech genius. That is not the case. So you can be a digital leader without knowing how to write a single line of code. The most important thing is that you understand emerging technology, you understand innovation, you understand the platforms that are there, you understand the tech that is out there, even the tech that is not fully matured, you understand it, and you understand the visions, the objectives, and the missions of your organization. The digital leader is one that can understand those tech, understand the objectives of the business, and marry these two together, bringing the tech into the business to create more value for people and for the society, eventually for the business as well. So when we talk about digital leadership, the purpose of this event really, it's targeted towards the top leadership as well as the lowest employee of the organization, because the organization is as weak as its weakest link. What the digital leadership does is it kind of puts these skills into people to make them understand emerging tech and to understand how to bring this tech into the Belizean business and the Belizean space. It's not entirely for businesses. We have Belize Tax Services, there are government agencies as well. So what we're trying to do is allow individuals and businesses to understand the tech and the possibilities that are out there, understand where Belize is in terms of its digitalization and digital transformation, share a lot of data about how Belizeans use the internet, how they use all of these tools, and then let businesses start seeing how they can connect with the citizens on these platforms, by providing the tools that they like to use and they want to use as well.
What are your thoughts on Belize's digital landscape as it stands and works in progress to move forward?
I think that's a great question. So if I compare Belize to Trinidad and Jamaica, for example, Trinidad has, like say, at the moment, an 80% coverage, similar to Jamaica. Belize is at 70%, so there's a 10% gap that you guys need to catch up with. In terms of digitalization, in terms of the infrastructure, I don't think Belize are doing so bad compared to the other Central American or Caribbean islands. However, where I think that Belize can improve is the organizations and the government agencies and the businesses innovating on these same platforms and using the tools that citizens use. For example, the data shows that in Belize, people are more likely to access the internet on their mobile devices than using a computer or an iPad. So 70% of you would rather use a mobile device than go to a computer. So if I was a Belizean business or the government, I would build a mobile application first, or I will build an app on Facebook, I will build an app on WhatsApp, I will build an app on these platforms that I know they use, rather than invest a lot of money on building unnecessary infrastructure or creating a new branch. So if I was a bank or a credit union or an insurance company, I wouldn't invest in setting up a new branch. Rather, I will build a mobile application that can reach people in rural areas that maybe might cost you a couple of $1 million to build a physical infrastructure. So I would say the data shows that Belize are coming up really well. It shows that a lot of you guys rely on mobile devices. Therefore, the businesses have to innovate on those devices. And then, in addition to that, when you innovate on these devices, you're engaging the masses. And then you can even secure them better if you innovate on mobile devices, because your mobile devices has these ubiquitous features. It has camera. I can see who I'm dealing with as a bank or as a business. I can authenticate them. It has Face ID. It has fingerprint scanner. So the mobile device is the most secure platform to innovate on. And this is what we will emphasize again tomorrow to show businesses that, hey, if you want to innovate, start your innovation on mobile because of these features, and and engage with your consumers even better.
Use the facts and the mindset shifts that are required at the same time.
Yeah, I really like that, and sometimes I question why do you have to bring somebody from outside to really open our minds to the reality and the opportunities that exist, but I appreciate that so much.
I think that, you know, sometimes they say prophet is not recognized in his hometown. So there's everything I'm saying, I don't think it's unique, because there are people in Belize that have said these things over and over again. But I think sometimes it's good for people to see case studies from outside of Belize so they can understand that, okay, really, the things our professionals have been telling us have actually been, you know. So I don't think we are more experienced we're smarter than a lot of people here. It's just that we probably have these exposures and we can tell stories that people locally cannot tell.
Well, we have with us Mr. Namis, Mr. Dominic Namis, who's the head of business development representing Neo People. Let's talk about your involvement in the conference as well, speaking to leadership digitally.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Belmopan, native Belizean. Right. Went to high school in Belmopan. I moved to the U.S. when I was about 16, reside in Austin, Texas. After university, I was actually lucky enough to land at a not so small company by the name of Facebook, now Meta.
Never heard of it.
Right? Of course, Meta owns WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, the Messenger app as well. Largest social media platform in the world, right? I'm actually involved with Neo People in terms of business development. We've been expanding across the entire Caribbean. Neo People is an HR and payroll solution. It's one of the leading HR payroll solutions across the Caribbean. But actually tomorrow I'll be talking about something a little bit different. I will be talking about what I consider to be one of the largest social media opportunities and platforms that people do not talk about today.
Which is
actually LinkedIn.
That is so true.
That's so true.
We consider that the old people app.
That, for real, yeah.
I'm telling you.
And it's strange because you consider Facebook a young people app when in reality the rest of the world sees that.
Twitter is like the young people one. Facebook is like, I consider Facebook the old people, young people, but you kind of try to be professional up there. I know for some people in Belize here, it's kind of like a Twitter for us too. But that's interesting. So how can we tap into and capitalize on LinkedIn?
I think LinkedIn is today where Facebook was maybe 10 years ago. So there's a huge opportunity there. And it's been shifting from an app where you post your resume and look for a job to an actual social media app. You educate people, you talk about different experiences, right? You talk about your business. And there's huge amounts of money to be made on a platform like LinkedIn. There's creators now on LinkedIn. I've actually spent the last 3 years growing my LinkedIn to over 150,000 followers. And I now have brands from all over the world reaching out to me saying, hey, can we pay you? Can we sponsor a post, right? And this is not $200 post. This is, 4 figures, 5-figure deals that are happening on LinkedIn. So it's possible now for people to actually quit their 9-to-5 jobs and become content creators on platforms like LinkedIn. They stand out because not a whole lot of people are doing it, and they can make a whole lot of money on platforms like LinkedIn.
So what have you been seeing in terms of Belizeans utilizing this space so far?
I don't necessarily have immediate stats on how many individuals like in the Caribbean or even in Belize are on LinkedIn, but I'll say globally, which surprises a lot of people, there are over 1 billion users on LinkedIn.
Wow.
If you think about Pinterest, Twitter, now X, and Snapchat combined, they don't have the amount of users as a LinkedIn. LinkedIn is that big, right? But traditionally, we've used it for, I just need to have a LinkedIn when I'm getting a job.
Correct.
It's changing.
And what Dominic's point is that, and it matches back with Christian. Christian is talking, we're doing a lot of things on our mobile, but we're not monetizing. We just want to talk about where we were, what we ate, what we did, when the reality is that it could be paying us and paying our bills. And so we've got to shift that paradigm shift, mindset shift, where digital becomes, when you're a digital nomad and a digital native, it means that monetization is possible and not only having fun on it.
You wanted to add something?
Yeah, in addition to that, I like what Dominic said very much. In addition to that, and what Dionne has said as well, when you look at, one of the problems we have in Belize is the very good tech people can't get paid what they're really worth, right? So I get this, he says, so I hope you're getting paid good enough. So you have this skill set and you feel like you're a goldfish in a fishbowl because you have this skill set, you know how much money you can make in the US or Europe, and in Belize you're getting like a fraction of that, sometimes 10, 20% of what your value is. So if you take into Dominic's strategy, you can be here. If you love Belize, I've met a lot of people that have said, I will never leave Belize. I love Belize so much. So those kinds of people are patriots, right? So those kinds of people, even whilst they're working for local businesses, they take on strategies like this. They can earn all of these passive income. And then take the BPO industry as well. You know, you have all these people in a building, they're picking up calls and talking to people. Why can't they do tech stuff? Why can't they be outsourced development centers? Why can't they be outsourced cybersecurity centers? So if you bring all these skills together, you start creating a lot of value, you start increasing the income of people locally, and Belizeans stop looking for, you know, ways to leave the country and stuff like that. So it involves a lot of mindset shift, and it involves a lot of practical case studies where Dominic can talk about his experience, how he's gone from 0 to 150K. Now he can make $5,000 per post.
So Dr. Chamberlain, what I'm gathering is that this event isn't only for large businesses with huge employment, it's also for individuals as well. Let's talk.
We're planting a seed.
Right.
I mean, this first event is to plant that seed. And we're planning to germinate it. And when you get to know Namis's site, because I'm on it every day, he has some really great insights, and he loves to spark. He gets me upset sometimes because I want to say, no, that's not what I think. But I love the fact that he stretches me, you know. And I look for him. And the same way you're going to look for Christian, and you're going to look at things that's smart, and you're going to look at what all of our other sponsors are doing, because Channel 5 has done great things on the digitization front as well. People need to know what it does for you, the efficiency, the productivity. Yes, it's expensive to implement, but the cost savings that you get at the end of the day. Look at what the Belize Tax Service has done. I mean, the Development Finance Corporation, Digi, I mean, all of these companies which are our sponsors, Madisco and all, they've done great things within the space, Belize Bank. And we're not taking the brain and draining it abroad. If you look at it, everybody is home to roost. I mean, Sonia is from Colombia, yes, from Socias, but she's living in Belize. Agatha is from Poland, but she's living in Belize, you know. Everybody is coming and realizing the value and the power that Belize have in harnessing the digital, and the fact that we have networks with Digi and Smart that are poised to help us move on. We are in a good space, but we've got to ride it. Pivot or perish is what I say.
So for tomorrow, are there spaces still available? How do we get access? Tickets, where do we purchase them?
www.leadershipbelize.com and digitalleadershipbelize.com, sorry. And you can pay online with your credit card, because of course it's a digital. And everybody who has bought a ticket, we're asking you, please go on that site and register, because it is digital registration, despite the fact that you may have paid the old traditional way, because we want to keep in touch. This is a seed that's being planted, and we're going to germinate it through the year. And we want for you to become engaged. So please, it's $600, but it's a full day event that takes care of everything during that day for you. And it's worthwhile investment for every level. We have Galen, who is, I mean, at academia, and that's important. Avant-Garde, the owner of Avant-Garde is the Expedia rep in Belize, you know. So again, all of these insights, being there and having everybody handy and available to talk to you after, during. And of course, we invite all of the media to come in and see what's happening, you know, drop in and be there, because it's an important day and great things are happening, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, just to add to what Dr. Dionne has said, the event tomorrow is titled Strategy, Security and Engagement, Digital Leadership, Strategy, Security and Engagement. And what we're focused on, as we've all talked about strategy, we've focused on strategy so far. We'll do a lot of that tomorrow. We'll also focus on security, how to secure all of these platforms. So a lot of people are scared of using these platforms. Businesses are scared of innovating. So we show them how to secure this platform. And then finally, the engagement aspect of it, how to continuously engage Belizean citizens. So I want to say to everybody, big business, small business, government institutions, non-profits, churches, if you want to reach out to Belizeans on platforms that they utilize and learn how to innovate more, please go to www.digitalleadershipbelize.com and register. I think we've got like 20 or 30 spaces left. I'd love to see everybody tomorrow.
And what's interesting is that Belize has working on their laws in terms of cybersecurity. And in fact, I was cyber hacked recently, and the police department is very responsive. I mean, they have a cybersecurity unit. And I think we ought to realize that government is making all of these efforts and movements as well. and training their people. And we've actually offered scholarships to 2 police officers in the cybersecurity branch because we do believe that them being there to help them as well to grow. We have to grow each other together.
All right, so excellent. We're completely out of time.
Okay.
I am thoroughly inspired by this conversation.
Same here.
If our viewers want to hear more, well, you'll just have to go to the event tomorrow. But with that, we're going to take a break, and when we come back,
The conversation switches into raising awareness on Prematurity Day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
I'm connected. Yo.
I'm connected.
We're connected.
Create the perfect broadband bundle that fits your style with Smart Connect. With the Junior Bundle, get 50% off your national calls and up to 6 gigabytes of data at no extra cost. Get postpaid added on for an additional cost of only $25 with the Prime Bundle. Stay connected with unlimited smart-to-smart calls, plus 6,300 megabytes of data and free international minutes. For the family, get the Binge Watchers bundle with Netflix add-on for only $28.13 more. This bundle gives you 4 profiles with unlimited streaming on multiple devices. Visit a showroom near you to sign up and personalize your own bundle combination with Smart Connect. Smart, bringing people together.
Welcome back, guys. We're having our final conversation this morning, and it's all about raising awareness on World Prematurity Day. This morning, we're joined by Neroli Williams. She's the unit manager representing the NICU, and also with her is Inez Logan, and she is a nursing assistant also from NICU. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome.
Thank you.
When we think of premature babies, we think of babies that arrive in the world before 37 weeks or around 37 weeks earlier, yes? We also think of super cute tiny babies too. Let's talk about the importance though of raising awareness on Prematurity Day.
Okay, well, premature babies are at a higher risk than the other babies of developing complications. what most people might know as the developmental milestones, which means that different age in their life, they are responsible to do different things. For example, walking, talking, crawling, the learning process in school. And the main thing is you will not know when this is delayed until that time happens. So we can tell you that the baby may have risk of having developmental delays, but we can't say the baby will not walk at 9 months.
It just, you find out when it happens.
You will know at 9 months that the baby is not walking, or the baby is not crawling at 7 months. But you cannot know that at birth or at 2 weeks after. You know, they may have bleeding in the brain, they may not digest their food properly, they may have infections, they may have bleeding in the lung, you know, they may have seizures that may cause brain damage.
Due to prematurity.
Due to prematurity.
So what leads to prematurity, if I may ask?
You have a lot of factors that can contribute. For example, lifestyle. And you know, a lot of our society right now is either hypertensive or diabetic. A lot of teenage mothers. So if they don't have the information and they don't have the education on what to do, a lot of them are not even booked, which means they don't start clinic before they go to, they're pregnant and then.
And they don't attend clinic sessions?
Well, a lot of them, well, maybe not a lot of them, but some of them are high school students and they don't want their parents to know, or they don't want society to know.
How about taking your prenatals?
Well, they don't attend clinics, so they will not get the appropriate treatment. Sometimes the baby have abnormalities and they will not be able to know because no ultrasounds are taken. You know, things like those. And some things happen with, doesn't matter what you do. But we have, as the team states for this year, it's over 13 million babies born too soon every year.
How about in Belize? What does that statistic look like?
In Belize, we went down a little from last year. We're like at 49%.
49%?
Of our admissions to the NICU.
Oh, wow.
Of our admissions, it's like 49 of the admissions are premature babies, which means they're born before 37 weeks.
Wow. So let's talk a bit about how a parent should handle or process their child coming into the world prematurely in terms of the fears and the concerns. What should they be most concerned about and what should give them hope?
The weeks, for example, under 28 weeks or 27 and below in Belize, we don't consider viable. We do have some 26-weeker that survive. We do have some 25-weeker.
It's a miracle, eh?
But it's far and in between, right? We expect the babies at 28 weeks to have a better chance, and the ones at 30, at a better chance, one at 32 weeks, a better chance. But the risk of the complications are still there. So you could be born 36 weeks, and you could still develop a bleed in your brain and die, or a bleed in your lung, or develop an infection because the immunity is less. And you may still not make it. And some of them make it, but then the brain damage is irreversible, you know?
I want to get Ms. Logal in the conversation. As we mentioned, she is a nursing assistant in the NICU. Talk to us about the things that you would see interacting and aiding these young babies that enter the world early in life.
Okay, for me, the things that would like, especially when parents come and see their babies that are born less than 37 weeks, and especially those that needs to be ventilated, right? And because we do have some that needs to go on the oxygen, and if they don't tolerate that, then we need to put them on high flow, right? And if they don't tolerate the high flow, then that's when there needs to be ventilated, right? And some of these parents would come to us and tell us that they will ask us if we know the baby will survive, right? And first of all, we'll tell them that we don't know. It depends on the babies, right? How well the baby will recover, right? But they would ask us if all we tell them is that they need to pray, right? Ask God, and depends on what a medication that will be given to them, that then they will either recover from that or so forth.
And the thing is, over at the KHMH, I know that you all have a well-equipped unit to take care of these kids, and I know that the doctors over there and the nursing staff are committed to ensuring that they receive the best treatment possible.
This is the only NICU in the country
right.
as well, right?
So I was just going to say, I dare say it's the best, but it's the only one, and to have this gives hope to the general public that all is not lost. Let's talk a bit about the day that we're recognizing this, and what can we expect by way of a celebration or events or activities. You have any thoughts?
Okay, so yes, we are equipped, but we still have a long way to go.
Okay, yeah, let's go there then.
We still have a long way to go. For example, we have ventilators. We can do it more and newer models. It's like you have one set and you have those for 10 years. You know, so it's like the same thing in circulation.
Yeah.
When in other parts of the world they're changed every so many years and new products are, replaced with new products. The same thing with the monitors. You may have the monitors, but then maybe the section for temperature stop working, or the part for blood pressure stop working, but you still have a monitor. There are certain medications that help the preterm baby, like caffeine and fatty acids, and some that we are short of most of the time. So although we do everything we can, and we're the best in the country because we're the only one, I've been there for almost 25 years, so I've seen the growth as well. What we were 20 years ago, we've made big steps forward.
So on average, how long would a premature child remain in the NICU?
It all depends. We have babies that stays for months, like up to 3 months.
You know, I think what's so important to mention though is that this is something survivable. Oftentimes when parents think of the possibility of them having a premature baby, they think of the possibility of their child not surviving in delivery. But there are so many success stories that come out of the NICU as well. Babies that are now, or who were once babies, that are now adults and living productive lives, teenagers. Let's talk a bit about some of the success stories from the NICU as well, though, because while we are spreading awareness on how to prevent prematurity, we also want persons to know that you can survive it. Yes.
Yes, they can, and again, it's depending on the age that they're born, and maternal care during pregnancy has a lot to do with it as well. You know, because a lot of our babies are born from mothers with urinary tract infection, which could lead to infection in the babies, and it could be really bad, right?
Yeah.
And survival, we've had, and in the conference that we're having on Monday, we're having some testimonies from parents, and we're having some preterm graduates, as we call them, doing like prayer and anthem and stuff like those.
So there's going to be a conference on Monday for persons to attend, or is it only open to preemies? Are we inviting the preemies to come by and meet other persons who might have also gone through a similar experience?
We'll be having that on November 15th,
okay.
Friday at the parking lot.
Yes.
From, I believe, 9 to 4 p.m.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an appreciation day.
Yes, we're inviting our past NICU graduates, right, so that they can come and see from then to now.
Yeah.
And we're going to have interaction with all of them.
Yes. And then on Monday?
It's a conference.
It's a conference.
Yes, at Biltmore, from Princess and the Prince Room, from 8 to 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m.
And who's open to attend?
it's medical. So on Friday we're targeting the babies and their parents, and on Monday, because you want to raise the awareness, so we're having the conference to educate the public and educate the medical staff on how we could better improve the statistics.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're having testimonies, we're having educational talks from the different specialties. We have sponsors from UNICEF and government of Belize. So it's a joint venture with one cause to reduce prematurity and the statistics that we're faced with right now.
Excellent.
Wonderful. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure learning what is taking place in a NICU. And of course, we appreciate the work that you guys do, and we wish you all the best.
Yeah. And I like the shirt. I need one.
Fight like a preemie.
Yeah. I could get one for you.
Excellent.
Wonderful. Well, that does it for our show this morning. We want to say a huge thank you to all of our guests who joined us this morning, and of course you guys for tuning in with us. It is November 12th, and if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. And if you'd like to give a birthday shout out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oye@channel5belize.com.
And you can catch us on Facebook live every single weekday morning at Open Your Eyes BC.
As well as Instagram for behind the scenes contents at OYE Belize. Thank you so much for joining us, and please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes.
It's not your man and right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
and your hearts open.
Have a wonderful Tuesday.
Was brought to you by SMART, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.